Morning, Botai. Erev Shabbat Shalom. There's an interesting minhag quoted by the poskim specifically for the Shabbat Shira, which is to feed the birds either some seeds or bread because of the Midrash. The Midrash says in this week's parasha that when Am Yisrael crossed Yam Suf, trees grew in the middle of Yam Suf, and the children took out seeds or fruits or whatever it was from the trees, and they fed it to the birds, and then the birds joined Am Yisrael in singing the Shirat HaKadosh Baruch Hu in order to commemorate that Midrash. The minhag has become to feed birds on Shabbat Shira. The Magin Avraham and subsequently the Mishnah Berurah in Siman Shin Kav Dalet say that this poses a little bit of an issue because the halacha is that a person is not allowed to feed animals that are not under his responsibility on Shabbat. If you own animals, you have to feed them. They belong to you. You're chayav. However, animals that don't belong to you, that's considered an unnecessary toil on Shabbat, and you're not allowed to feed them. And therefore, both the Magin Avraham and the Mishnah Berurah say that a person shouldn't follow this minhag. If you want to do it, you can put out the food before Shabbat. You can leave a plate or whatever it is before Shabbat. But to actually go and put out the food and feed them on Shabbat, that's problematic. Maran Zichrono Levracha disagrees. In his Sefer Livatchin, and once again in Chazon Avadia, Chalakim Gimel and Dalet, Maran Zichrono Levracha brings down several poskim, the Tosefet Shabbat and others, that say that since this minhag was founded based on a mitzvah of commemorating the miracle of Kriyat Yam Suf, it is allowed to continue with this minhag. So he says it's definitely better to put out the food or the seeds or whatever it is before Shabbat, but if you want to do it on Shabbat itself, a person definitely has on whom to rely. He quotes, Maran Zichron Bracha quotes a sefer called Or Pnei Moshe, and he says that another basis for this minhag is that this week's parasha we also read about Parashat Haman. When the man fell for Am Yisrael in the Midbar, the Torah says that Hashem commanded Moshe Rabbeinu to take a jar and fill it with man and store it in the Beit HaMikdash in order for Am Yisrael to remember, look at the man that Hashem fed us, and if we ever have doubts about our parnasah, we look at the man that Hashem told us to store, and it infuses us with emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He takes care of every living being. Because of that, because we read Parashat Haman in this week's parasha specifically, so it reminds us that just like birds find their food without any toil, they fly around and they find it. So too Am Yisrael is compared to birds, and because of that, if we do what we're supposed to, connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and follow the path of Torah mitzvot, we will find our parnasah just as easily as the birds. That is the Or Pnei Moshe's reason, for another reason behind this minhag that we have on Shabbat Shira, which a person wants to follow, he definitely has on whom to rely. So that's with regards to that. Shabbat Shalom Vorach.